So I saw you on Talk with Steve Harvey a bunch of times, and I always loved it. One thing just sticks in my head from something he said as advice, that if you and your partner, your spouse, if there's a fight, there's a difficult thing you have to deal with, keep that to yourself. Don't talk to anyone else. Like that's a little like what does he say? Like a two-arm circle or something, whatever the expression is. But basically, resolve it all internally. Don't like when you face the world, you have a front of like
Don't
we're
take
rock
sides
solid.
against the family.
Yeah, that's yes.
That's what it is.
Like it all boils down to Godfather.
Yeah, everything boils down to Godfather references. It really does.
And true romance.
Yeah, you don't take sides against the family. You don't show that weakness to the world. I mean, again, I don't know that Steve in candor would say you shouldn't discuss it with your own therapist, Sure. But I think what he's saying is don't project it out to the world. Don't share that, because I think, it can change the way people view your relationship, which then will change the way you view your relationship, and so I think don't run reckless when it comes to that primary relationship. Don't run your mouth recklessly.
Yeah, it's one of the things I mentioned to you offline that, my now close friend Joe Rogan, I've never heard him ever speak negatively of his wife. It's always like super positive, how awesome of a person she is. And that to me has always been an inspiration to do the same for everybody in my life, to always speak positively about them. That has probably a virtuous spiral effect.
I'm sure. Like that's probably because he has a great wife, and he has a great wife in part because of that.
Yeah.
Like I think it's clear that he's in her corner and cheering for her. It's clear she's cheering for him. Like they have. It's not like Joe Rogan's not a man who has opportunity. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's surrounded by UFC ring girls, for God's sakes. Like, this is a guy who has all the opportunity in the world, and he seems to be quite a fan of his wife. Mm-hmm. And that is, that's a superpower. Like, that's a real thing. Now the question is, he doesn't seem to talk about it like, oh, I got to really work at that.
Yeah.
And that's not a man who's afraid to talk about what he works at. Mm-hmm. He's pretty honest about, man, yeah, I got to work really hard to stay in shape. I got to work really hard to be able to do this. Like, yeah, I'm not good at memorizing that. It takes time.
Yeah.
But I've never heard him say like, oh, marriage is a lot of work. Like, and I think that's to his credit, because it seems like they're enjoying that. And it's also not incredibly public. Like, it's not something most people couldn't pick her out of a lineup.
He kept it private for many years, and just because it's a private joy, it's a private, like, deep, meaningful, intimate partnership. That's interesting. That's also an inspiration. Not everything about your life has to be this, like, look at me, I'm happy. Like, I'm in a happy relationship. Everything is wonderful.
Especially that. I think there is something about the womb-like, cocoon-like joy, of like love, when you're just tucked in, snuggled in, like just pressed against each other with that, like that's such a, it's just the two of you. Yeah. Like, and that's lovely, and that's such a good thing. And I like, we were just dying for connection, and that connection is so big. It's so everything, one of my earliest psychedelic experiences, probably when I was a teenager, but a theme that's been persistent in every psychedelic experience I've ever had, is this idea of like everything is connection. Everything is being pressed to someone and with them, like the warmth of human connection. Like one of the reasons I enjoy listening to your work and your perspective has always been that I think at the core you see connection and love. And I think for me, from my earliest experiences with psychedelics at 16, 17, I was very attuned to that. That was put on my radar by psychedelics and just stayed part of my consciousness forever. And I think I had a 30-something year break from psychedelics, but it was like when I came back to it, I went, oh yeah, it's still there. That's still the core of everything, is connection.
I mean, it's fascinating how deeply you value connection, how empathic you are, that you would be doing what you're doing, which is, or is it not?
I think it's the opposite.
Counterintuitive?
No, I think it's actually why I'm well suited for what I do. I think what I do is I have to learn the story of my client and know it and feel it very deeply. And I have to feel it in a very human way that's very compassionate to this person. And then I have to feel it and understand it in a way that's incredibly antagonistic to it so I can shore up defenses. So I have to feel this person's story and feelings from every possible angle, because every one of them is a vulnerability and every one of them is a potential strength and a potential defense. And so I actually think it's my number one, other than extemporaneous speaking ability, it is my number one job tool, is the ability to radically empathize and to put myself in the emotional state of someone in its best possible light and its worst possible light, so that I can see, again, the defense and I can see the vulnerability.
But I mean, so that's beautifully put, but also just to bear witness to this connection broken in those dramatic way over and over and over and over.
That part is hard, but I was a hospice volunteer for many, many years when I first got out of college. And it really showed me a lot about, what is sadness, what is tragic, and what is just inevitable decay, what is pain and decay. Like, we all die. Like, we play a game you can't win to the utmost. And so if we know the answer to all of this is you're going to die, then what do we do with the rest of that time? If all your stuff is just stuff, it's just going to go to the money's going to go, like your looks is going to go, everything's going to go, love's going to end one way or the other, then what are we doing? And I think it's love and connection. But what I'm doing for a living is helping, and I don't look at it as what I'm doing is helping people beat the crap out of each other. I look at it as I'm trying to help a client build their post-divorce life, to sort of rise from the ashes of that which has fallen apart and move on to the next chapter and refocus and have the things they need financially, emotionally, whatever it might be, interpersonally, in terms of with their kids. And so for me, it's actually a job that is very consistent with my desire to build connection and to be empathetic.
And witnessing the ashes doesn't make you cynical about the whole thing of love.
No, because again, 56% of marriages end in divorce, but 84% are remarried within 5 years. Like, we keep doing it over and over again.
And that's a good thing.
I think it is a good thing.
The mess of it, the absurdity of it, the hypocrisy of it, that's something beautiful about that.
Well, it's just the return is so great on the investment, listen, man, I've had more than one dog.
Yeah.
Like, when my dog died, the first dog I had died, I remember when I'm never gonna love again. I'm done. I'm done with this. I will never expose myself to this kind of pain again. I'll never have to take the dog bed and put it in the closet and ugh. And then some friend called me and said, we have an adoption event. Can you just watch this dog for 24 hours and then we'll take him? We just need, and I went, yeah, all right, I'll watch a dog for the night, and this dog comes and they say, oh, he has mange. He's not going to, I got another dog. He walked in and my heart went, yeah, I got a dog. And now that dog is 13 years old and his eyes are cloudy and he doesn't go up the stairs real well and he's going to break my heart. And I wouldn't change that for the world.
I'm still there. I'm still struggling for the second one. I lost a dog and it broke my heart. But
you'll never lose that pain. But I promise you, your heart has an infinite capacity for the kind of love you felt with that dog. And you'll never feel a love that replaces the whole. Like, there will never be another Buster for me. But there was Kaba. And you know what? And when he's gone, there will never be another one of him. But you know what? When that stupid puppy that was 5 months old stumbled in, I went, I guess I'm going to do this again. And you know what? I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And I know, by the way, I know now and that's where I've said, like, it's that Joseph Brodsky poem, a song. Like, I wish I knew no astronomy when stars appear. Like, I wish I didn't know the pain. But you know what? Like, I don't care. I don't care. And I believe we don't care. I think there's something to that. If something hurts so badly and you go, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again, then it must be of value. It must be of real value.
There's also a different perspective on it, that pain. So there's that from Louis, the show, of this interaction with an old man with Louis C.K. And he says that because Louis is mourning the loss of, got split up, he got dumped or whatever. And he's mourning the loss of that partner of love. And the old man says that is the best part. Like, missing the love is still love. The real bad part is when you forget it, when the pain fades and it's all gone. But the pain is actually a kind of celebration of the love you had.
Of course. Well, the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is indifference.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. I mean, hate is a passionate emotion. Love is a passionate emotion. But and there is a school of thought that says that only unfulfilled love can be truly romantic. But I believe that it's what I think I learned from hospice, is that I think, for me, knowing the impermanence is the thing. It's the key.
Yeah, it's finite. Eventually it's going to be over. And so, like, that intensifies the feeling. That's when you can have pure love without the drama.
Dogs are, for me, a great example. And again, I don't know what it all means, right, existentially. But I just feel like they have that kind of love has to be here to teach us something. And I feel like the fact that they're so amazing and just so loving and so wonderful, and the bond we feel is so amazing and deep and doesn't require a lot of maintenance, and yet it's so finite. Like, it's just this short little lifespan. And I feel like there's just such a lesson there, There's so much there to unpack about the nature of connection and loss, and, that your heart has this infinite capacity. Like, I'm telling you, when my dog died, when Buster died, I remember thinking with certainty, I will never do this again, because I'll never love that way again. I'll never love a dog the way I love this dog. And it's just not true. That's just not true. Like, you have this infinite capacity. And that makes it scary, actually, because, like, right now, there's so many people you could love. There's so many dogs you could love. Like, there's so much out there. And it requires a certain bravery and tremendous amount of risk to do it,
And a commitment. Because I think to really experience love, you should just dive in. Because there is a huge number of people. But to really, like, I mean, you have to, like, really dive into the full complexity, the full range of another human being.
Yeah, which is hard. Because I don't know that we even feel comfortable diving into the full range of ourselves.